Hello everybody, thanks for stopping by Greg's Beer Reviews today. It's about that time. Let's go take that walk and see what's in the fridge today.
Hey guys, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. I do appreciate it. Thanks for stopping by. This is Clown Shoes beer. Clown Shoes, guys. This is Once Upon a Time in the Far East. And guys, right off the bat, I'm going to tell you, Beer Advocate has this listed as a 14%. It is not. It is a 12%. And I don't know if they've done this multiple years or not. I don't see any evidence of that. The bottle clearly states it's a 12%. So, don't know where they're getting their numbers from, but they are basically out of this one. We're not going to go back for any kind of ratings or anything because they have the wrong ABV. This is the one that's done with Vietnamese coffee. And from the picture they're showing here, Once Upon a Time in the Far East, the picture says done with Vietnamese coffee. So, unless they've done several different versions of this, I'm not sure exactly what to expect, but this is a 12% version. I don't know if there's any kind of bottle dating on it. This was sent to me by Brandon C. down in Texas. Maybe more than likely there was a Texas only release, but it does say 12% alcohol by volume right here on the label. So, they've got the wrong information, or they've got one from a previous year, or whatever the case may be. So we're going to just toss them out the window on this one. And Untapped has this listed as a one brewed with Vietnamese coffee at 12%. So it's between me and Untapped, because there's Beer Advocate is sucking hind titty on this one. They have the wrong information, so we're not going to go back to them on this beer. I don't have a commercial description. I don't have an IBU. And like I said, I'm not sure if there's any kind of dating on the bottle. I didn't see anything when I looked at it, but it's hard to tell when you have a dark beer in a dark brown bottle if they're using black writing or anything like that on. We'll take a closer look at the bottle when I come back for the final chug and see if there's any kind of writing or dating or anything like that on there that I can see. So, with that being said, I don't have a commercial description, like I said. Final beer of the evening for me. So let's do it. Let's get it on. Let's pop the cap off of this bad boy. Nice hiss. A little bit of smoke. Into the glass we go. Oh, and before I get carried away on this computer on this side has died. I don't know what's up with that. It's been plugged up the whole damn time. So, electronics, you gotta love it. So, while I pour this, now let me tell you, I'll look at this computer and say, the food pairing says cheese, buttery, brie, Gouda, Havarti Swiss, General Chocolate, digestive, meat, beef, smoked meat, game, and grilled meat. Glass for a pint, Bacaronic tumbler sniffer, oversized wine glass. I got my favorite tulip glass, and it says here you can cellar it. Remember, it's done with Vietnamese coffee, so the coffee's going to fade like hops, you guys. I don't know if you'd want to sell this beer or not. And I poured a little bit more than I wanted to on that one while I was reading. Didn't pour very much of a head. It is barely covering the top of the beer. Over into the light, it is pitch black. Let's dive in and see what we got. Cheers, everybody. Cheers, Brandon. Now, I'm not getting the huge coffee notes like we did yesterday's beer from Al's of Hampton, Pizza Boy, their Sunny Side Up. Rich roasted malt, I'm getting that. Maybe hints of some tapia caramel or black molasses. There is some sweetness to it. It doesn't say anything about being brewed with any kind of lactose or anything. And just a slight hint of maybe a little bit of coffee. I was expecting a little more coffee notes than I'm getting on the nose. So let's dive in and see what we got. On the taste, rich roasted malt, some black molasses, slight hint of some coffee. So I don't know if the Vietnamese coffee, I was expecting more than what I'm getting. And I don't know what the age of the beer is. If it's an older beer, maybe the coffee has faded already. Like I said, we'll take a closer look when I come back, see if we can find any kind of dating or year or anything like that on it. It is very smooth for 12%. Well made as far as that aspect is. Not boozy at all. Very easy drinking for 12%. This one would be one that probably would get you into trouble if you were drinking it out somewhere other than home, because it drinks like a 7 or 8, maybe even a 9%er. And this is a 12, not a 14 like Beer Advocate has that. Decent beer. It's not blowing me away right now. I would like to know if I can find any kind of dating on the bottle. So let's reserve any other comments till I come back and see if there's any kind of dating on it, vintage or whatever. That may have something to do with how much coffee that I'm tasting now, depending on how fresh it is, because coffee fades in these kind of beers over time. If it's a 2016 or a 2017 edition and not something fairly fresh, that would explain why I'm not getting a whole lot of coffee and it has faded over time. So let's do that. Let me pour the rest of the bottle in the glass for her and sip on this for a little bit and see, and we'll come back and see if I can find any kind of dating on it, and we'll go from there. Alright guys, I'm back. Got just a little left here. Nice lacing is left on the glass. Decent beer. It's tasty beer. I looked at the bottle when I got back. There is absolutely no kind of vintage or dating or anything like that. Clown Shoes is big enough to do that, guys. And I thought they were dating their stuff. Especially when I see Beer Advocate and Untappd have two different ABVs listed on this beer. These guys are big enough to do that. So that's going to cost them a grade point. It is. They need to date their stuff. At least put a vintage on it, if not a month and a year. The date is not critical on this style of beer, but I want to see the month and the year, so I know whether it was done in January of 2016 or 17 or December of 2016 or 17. This is the 30th of March of 2018. There's absolutely no kind of dating on the bottle. I think that sucks. These guys are big enough to do that, and so like I said, cost them a grade point. Final chug. Decent beer. The coffee is kind of subdued as far as I think it should be for something that's done with Vietnamese coffee. The alcohol is very well hidden. A very well made beer as far as I'm concerned. Very easy drinking for that big of an ABV beer. A- is where I'm going to put this, guys. And they're lucky they don't get a B+. 90 is where I'm going to put this. Just barely into the A category. These guys can do better than that as far as dating their stuff. Now, the beer is awesome, but I think it should have more coffee notes than I'm getting, so I don't have any idea how old the beer is. I'm sure it was the freshest bottle that Brandon could pick up. He's down in Texas, and more than likely this is a Texas-only release. It's not released in Massachusetts. They have a thing for sending certain beers to Texas. So with that being said, that's where I'm going to put it. A- 90. Over to Beer Advocate. They say 4.25. That's a couple digits better than what I'm giving it. That's still in their A- range. and over to, and like I told you, Beer Advocate has it listed as 14%. So I don't even know if we should even use those numbers. Over to beer, to Untapped. Untapped has it listed as their Vietnamese coffee version, and it has 12%, which is what this bottle has on it. But it doesn't have a kind of dating. A lot of times they'll have what vintage it is if they've done it multiple times. This one doesn't have that year on it. It just says it's the Once Upon a Time in the Far East brewed with Vietnamese coffee, 12%. That's what this bottle says on it too. They have it at 4.03, which is also in their A- range. So maybe I'm giving it the justified grade, doing the A-. I would like to see these guys do some kind of dating. A vintage or a month and the year would be great. The day is not critical of what month they do it, but I would like to know whether it was done in January of whatever year, or December, or July, middle of the year. So I know how much that I can expect the coffee to be faded over time. So, because coffee does fade just like hops does, guys. With that being said, that's where I'm going to leave it. If you've had this one from Clown Shoes, Once Upon a Time in the Far East brewed with Vietnamese coffee, the 12%, not the 14%. Don't know the difference between what years they've done this, or why even Beer Advocate has one listed at 14%, and if they did a different edition that did have that ABV, but these guys are big enough to put a date on them, and I think it sucks that they don't. I would not buy this beer if it didn't have a date on it or some kind of vintage on it. So, Brandon, thanks a bunch, my brother. I do appreciate you spending your hard-earned money on this and getting, I'm sure, the freshest bottle you could get. So, I think these guys could do better than that. So that's where I'm going to leave it. If you've had it, let me know what you think, guys. Till we meet again, let's go see what's in the fridge.